Such sort of early stages in both of your careers. What a great project to both be involved in. You must have been absolutely thrilled when you got these roles.
Yes, it's pretty cool.
It's a bit unreal. I mean, the weirdest thing is now, because when we booked the role, we didn't expect any of this to happen. We didn't, for me anyway. I expected it, people from Britain, especially British Asians, to relate to it. I never thought in my wildest dreams that we'd be going to LA and New York and people like coming up to us saying, "Honestly, I cried so much. It resonated so well with me." And it's like, wow, I didn't expect it to have that much of a global approach, but it's just a bit insane.
I was thinking about that as well, but that's also like, I was the same way, but I was like, that's kind of messed up, innit? That like, we don't think that because this story is about, like a British Asian family, that it can be universal, and it can be, and that's so like amazingly incredible.
It definitely can be, but one thing I've learned is like, I think Asians can watch, a white leading man on screen and relate, but it's not so much vice versa. A lot of, I think it's getting to that point now, and we're evolving in that sense. But a lot of white people I know aren't huge fans of these kind of movies. So it's kind of nice that it's got a more global approach than just to British Asians.
Well, maybe that's because people they didn't grow up watching them. I guess you guys would have grown up, and most of the films you would have seen in the cinemas would have had white leads.
Of course.
So maybe the more films we get like this, the more likely the next generation will be able to relate.
Exactly.
More so to any.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's up to us now. I think we have to create, create opportunities and present people of minorities, people that are minorities, and represent them correctly on screen.
Because even though there is a kind of quite sad pertinence, I think, to this story. It feels quite relevant at the moment, particularly that the son of scenes like the marching, the National Front March and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Did you speak to anyone in your sort of generation above you, parents, aunties, uncles, about what it would have been like to have been a young British Asian in sort of 1987?
Didn't have to. Yeah. It's a very sort of depressing time in many ways, which is funny because the film is quite sort of feel good. Yeah. But it is interesting that it is set at such a terrible. So you're trying to pick up your latte as silently as possible.
Sorry, carry on.
But it is something where like it is set at a time like 1987 in Luton, in a working class British Asian family. Like, you can't not talk about racism. Like, there is no world in which you can make a story like this and not talk about racism. It still occurs today. I'm not affected by it on a day-to-day basis, but it is sad that like people got beaten up on the streets of the UK just for looking like us.
But obviously, like you mentioned, even though there are quite deep, quite profound themes in this, it is a film that feels quite hopeful, and it is quite a light film, very sort of warm and tender film. And a lot of that comes through the music. What was it like singing in a musical? Because even though it always looks great on screen, do you feel silly doing it? Because it's one of those things
100%.
You wanted to listen to it.
Go like, I know this is going to look good. I know they're going to do a good job of it. But in the moment, you must just go, this feels silly.
I think you gradually get over it after doing it for a little bit. But I remember like I didn't think I quite realised how much singing there was in it, and then which was silly of me, but it was really cool.
Did you not read the script?
I did, but I was like, I just saw them as songs. I was like, oh right, I have to sing all of them. But then we got to the read through was particularly intimidating because it's like 30 people around a massive wooden table somewhere in London. Got in there, and then I remember the night before I asked Gurinder, I messaged Gurinder and I said, how's the music going to be done? And she just wrote back, as per the script. So I was just singing like ballads, like a cappella around a table. I was like, it was Thunder Road as well. Remember Thunder Road? That was just literally just me singing.
I was sitting next to him. It was terrible. My ears were ringing. I was like, oh, could I swap seats with someone? I was lucky though, because every song that I had to do, I weren't on my own. One of them, I've got two. I've done one with Viveik and the other one with Viveik and Nell, who plays Eliza in the film. So I was lucky. I didn't have as much pressure as you.
Yeah. Lucky lad.
Do you think it's quite a good time to be coming into this industry for British Asian actors? Because I was looking recently, obviously Riz Ahmed's played Hamlet, and then you've got Dev Patel's playing David Copperfield, and these are roles that weren't written as Asian roles. Do you think that now we're getting to a point where any role is possible? possible? Does it feel like that you're coming into an industry where it feels more so than usual, more perhaps maybe sort of 10 years ago, there's more doors open?
It feels more so than usual, but we're still not at a place where we should be. And I think that's our duty now as the next generation of Asian actors that are coming up to create them opportunities. Of course, it's getting better. You know, you look at where we were 5, 10, 15 years ago, we've advanced massively, but you know, we're still up, in my opinion, we're still not represented as we should be.
It's a tricky thing because I'm grateful to be part of this era in which like there is an influx of stuff coming in for people that look like us. However, it is deeply saddening to know that like a couple of years ago that wasn't the case, and there's like, you can't forget like the whole other like generations of actors that look like us that like didn't get opportunities, didn't get work, not because they weren't great actors, but just because like it wasn't a time where like people like them could have nuanced depictions of people on screen, which is sort of important to be aware of. And that like I'm not just grateful to be here, I'm also like deeply saddened that didn't happen before.
Mm-hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey